Hello, everyone. Today, for this interview, we have a special guest. She is Danuska. Hi, Danuska.
Hello, Eva. Hello, Lisette.
How are you?
I'm very excited to be here with you. It's a pleasure to have this interview.
Thank you so much. So, I'm gonna give a quick introduction about Danuska, who she is, what's her occupation basically. Danuska is an elementary school teacher, English teacher, and she also studied commercial aviation in Colombia and methodology for EFL teachers in IBNA.
First, Danuska, the first question is, how did you become an English teacher?
While studying English at IBNA, I was inspired or attracted by the methodology that various teachers use to teach English. So there was a time when I started asking myself, what would I be like teaching English? And that's how I decided to study the methodology for EFL teachers course.
My question is, how much have the teaching method changed since you were a student to this day?
I'm not really sure how exactly or how much it has changed, but some things that have changed are, for example, the use of virtual material during classes and how teachers use it to improve their methodology. So I also think that the methodology depends a lot on each teacher, because there are those teachers who rise on the board, who give a short explanation, and they give you the exercises to solve, as well as there are others that make the class more dynamic.
So, virtual is better for you, or like the classic way?
Both depends on the moment, I guess. Yes.
Okay.
I think the best.
Yeah, and what is the most difficult part about teaching for elementary school kids?
Keep their focus in class. Without a doubt, that is the most difficult part of teaching elementary school children, since they are easily distracted and even they can distract their other classmates. There are children who are more interactive, who like to be walking, moving, or talking, and many times they don't pay the necessary attention to be able to learn the subject that I'm teaching or to retain the information.
Because the teaching for kids is more difficult than teach maybe kids from primary or from high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because you're an English teacher for elementary school kids, I guess it's different, the preparation. How do you normally prepare your classes for them?
Of course, I prepare them with days in advance, because I like to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I really like to add some other activities. For example, the writing part, whether you want it or not, it's sometimes necessary for children to write, to have the evidence in their notebooks. Also, but I try to keep it as little as possible. I also prepare the worksheets many times. I use some virtual websites to prepare the material according to each level that I teach.
And which method do you apply to make more dynamic and interesting classes for your students?
The use of visual material, of course, both physical and virtual. I can bring images, pictures, or flashcards for children so they can learn new vocabulary, or maybe a video where they can visualize that vocabulary and listen to it at the same time. I also do activities such as games like role-playing games, the hangman, that in Spanish is ahorcado, to practice the vocabulary. Also, scramble words on the board so they can create sentences and more.
also games to catch the attention of them.
Yeah, of course. They really like to learn by playing.
Actually, my next question it's exactly about that. How do you use technology to make the classes more dynamic, right? So do you use games, music, and maybe something else?
Yeah, of course I do. I really try a lot to look for videos that can influence the learning of children. Not just one, but maybe two or more if it's possible, because they realize that. For example, I recently found a song about the days of the week for kids of 5 years old, and that was very dynamic, and the children began to sing it, so they no longer pronounce like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but Monday, Tuesday. They got better in that pronunciation, so it's correct, and I'm glad that it helps them.
You can sing a little bit of your songs, the songs that you teach your kids.
um okay. It's something like days of the week. Come on, everyone, sing the days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah, something like that.
Thank you.
How do you improve the listening and speaking abilities in children?
uh Making them interact with each other is the best way, because you can give some examples of small conversations about the vocabulary or maybe grammar they have learned, so in that way they can practice it, whether if our questions from hello, how are you, to what's your favorite color, they use with like a real life situation. It's something interesting for them, so I also play videos where the dialogue is heard in the first part. It is repeated a couple of times, and then in the third time, you just only visualize the video without the audio, and they need to remember what the children, for example, were saying in that video. Yeah.
Yeah, so my next question is more like about the school and your opinion as an English teacher. Does the school where you teach provides you all maybe the resources that you need to make a good class?
I think it's fine, but I would like them to provide me with more, or maybe with a computer, for example. I have a TV on the classes. In each class, there is a TV. But for example, they work with an agreement with a university, and the book is all in English. And there are many activities that are listening. So you need to play that audios to children, for children, right? So, but to enter to the platform, it's really difficult because you need to use Google, and in a TV you can do that. It's not the same to write with a keyboard, or to type with a keyboard, than to use a control of the television. It's you need to open the email, maybe your account, your password, do for the material, and it takes too much time to do that.
It makes your preparation maybe or the teaching process more difficult, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit, yes.
And what happens if a student doesn't show the same problem as the rest of the class? And how do you deal with it?
Well, of course, it's important for children to learn, but they don't learn in the same way. To be honest, I don't have much experience as a primary or as an elementary school teacher. I'm adapting to the children's environment little by little, and I am still learning how to deal with those situations. But I can help them. Of course, if there is a children that have a questions, I go with him and help him. For example, maybe I explain without problem, because but not everything depends on me. There are children that don't understand, for example, because they don't pay enough attention, they were doing other things, they got distracted, and it doesn't depend on me. I can be in the class like, hey, you need to pay attention, don't do that, stop talking, or things like that, because there are other children that really pay attention, they focus in the class, and it can break, the class, it can break all that I was teaching to them. And it's kind of difficult that part to deal with those situations, but I really try. I'm trying.
Because the point is that all the children learn. That is the objective. But as you said, some kids maybe distract with other things, and maybe I imagine that is so difficult.
It's a little bit difficult to deal with that, but I'm keeping trying.
So my last question is a personal question. It's about yourself. What future projects do you have as an English teacher, or maybe just like in general as a professional?
I will maybe give classes in a personalized way, because I still don't have future projects exactly as an English teacher, because my career is commercial aviation, as you mentioned in the beginning. I don't know if the next year I will continue teaching English in the same school or in another, or if I will be able to have the opportunity to work in some area as far as my professional career is concerned. But for now, I continue to enjoy this beautiful experience that I'm living and developing myself professionally as a teacher.
Well, that's really interesting. I wish you the best. We wish you the best. And thank you so much for giving us this interview.
Thanks to you. Goodbye.
Bye.